Hi, everybody. I'm Kathleen Byram, and I'm the author of Conversations with Dawnkey, A Bipolar Journey. What I'd like to do today is free associate. I don't have anything that I want to talk about, but I have a great need to talk. That happens a lot. And so I'm going to share some stuff on my desk with you. Pardon me a moment. This is a little incense holder. See the little hole? And there's another hole here. It's like a little tree of life or something. It's from my good friend Ramona. She sent me this for my birthday. These are from my dear friend Jay. They're little birds. And this is from Ren, my friend Ren from Facebook. She's no longer with us. She died a horrible, horrible time. I think she fell and busted her femur, and the pain, I think, is what killed her. It was horrible. And right before it happened, we had the most wonderful month. I think it was December, and I was sending her things, and she was so happy. And our friendship had just gone through the roof, and we were being very chatty with each other. And I think it was a good month for her before she left. And that makes me feel better. When she first died, I was traumatized because I knew the pain that she was going through. Horrible. Just horrible. What else? I have my new book in a binder. It used to be called The Angels Cheer When You Face Your Fear, and I was going to put this like the clouds in the sky thing on it, and someone said that it was too religious looking, and I agreed that might turn off some people, so I didn't want to give that impression. So I renamed it tentatively Kaffy the Love Dawnkey. I'm going to see if I can find something in here that's not too long that I can read to you. I just opened it up to Ego and Fear. Let's see how long this is. It's kind of long. This should take a while. Ego and Fear. My son was brilliant in my estimation. I tried to stack the deck and make sure he was special by pumping him full of information he didn't need at a young age. So when he was 8, I would have been 32. I was having a conversation with Sean about a mental sensation I was experiencing. Rather quickly, he came to the conclusion that it's your id. Whether the id was related is neither here nor there, but my point is that I adore my son's mind. But that's regarding Freud's ego, not regular ego that people refer to in normal conversation. A person's sense of self-esteem or self-importance, that's what I want to address. It's interesting to consider what I will tolerate as an affront to my ego and what I won't. Ego is a deep well for me. I don't understand everything in there, but I try even when it's painful. Suddenly a memory came back to me of Sean in the Orleans baby contest. It must have been during the Gulf War, and people were feeling very patriotic, and I thought Sean would look very snazzy in a little olive green outfit that looked like a military jumpsuit. I was very proud of him. But I discovered that other babies were more gregarious. My child was kind of solemn and thoughtful. Oh, he had his moments of laughing it up, but not today. Also, one of the judges was a teacher whom I had somehow annoyed. But I didn't know what I'd done, so there was that. I'm going to pause for a second and add something in about that. I remember that happening. It was in history, I think, and we had a substitute teacher, and she was a no-nonsense type. And I remember sitting there near the front of the class, and suddenly I got the impression that she was looking at me. And I looked at her, and I was confused. I thought, did she just say something that I didn't hear, or what's happening? Why is she looking at me that way? And it didn't get resolved for some reason or another. And I always felt like I had done something inadvertently to make her angry. So that was who was judging the babies. This didn't really go over well compared to the others. I was irked. Now, does that sound like me? Well, that's how it was. My ego got involved. I thought Sean was the most beautiful, and that was that. There was another contest at his school in San Francisco. He came in second in a poetry reading. The first place person was bubbly to the unbelievably happy degree. She read something in a Seuss sort of way with the bubbliness, and it won everyone's heart. I was proud of Sean and proud of her too. We praised her spectacular, memorable performance. Once in San Francisco again, we got a note invitation in the mail. It stated that Sean had won a prize in an art contest, and his art would be shown there at the art museum. We were in shock with no idea what to expect and very excited. He did not disappoint. It was a white paper sculpture. It was indescribable. Its name was Atlantis. I thought I would burst with pride. These are good kinds of ego. The bad kind, I have that too. Back about 10 to 15 years ago, I was seeing a very attractive, decent, hard-working man. I would come to his house and spend time with him and his son. We were intimate. It was obvious to me that I was his girlfriend. And one night, while talking about it, I used the word, and he replied, "You're not my girlfriend." I decided to never see him again. The candy shop got closed for 10 years. I did not date anyone. I worked on myself during this time. For me, my ego is very bloated in some respects, very flat and deflated in others. I like to think it's realistic. Not pessimistic, but realistic. I know what I am and what my strengths and weaknesses are. Here are some things that flatten and deflate my ego. Shoot. This is frustrating. I am big. Not as huge as I used to be, which was 400 pounds. I've lost some weight since then, and I'm proud of this. Not arrogant, just medium proud. But my bigness, I know, is a turnoff for a lot of people. I know, those people can kick rocks, but I honestly care what other people's opinions of me are. That's just the way this donkey is made. I am lazy. Oh yes, I am. When I weighed 400, it hurt to do a lot of things. I got in a bad state physically where I didn't want to do anything. But that old laziness is there now. I don't wanna. I am good at jewelry making and writing, and when I do those things, time flies and work flows. That's flow, when everything is moving along quickly, at a productive speed, and things are satisfying. I like flow. I don't like cleaning bathrooms anymore. I used to enjoy cleaning. Now, well, I'm just lazy. I had lost about 70 pounds when I first started writing this. Now I'm up to 375, and it hurts to do everything. I thought I had a drink. My body doesn't flow. Sometimes my communication will flow. Sometimes my work will flow, but my body doesn't do that. It's stiff and uncomfortable socially. When I'm at home, I am comfortable in my donkey hole. But if I have to see someone, I'm uncomfortable in my own skin. I used to be very clumsy. Now I'm so big, I've learned to be slow and deliberate. I felt very awkward in my skin. Mom sent me to dance lessons to try to help. Maybe it helped me some. It did give me some confidence. I am a piddling procrastinator from way back. Enough said. I'll get back to this one later. Cowardly donkey. Yes, I am cowardly. In some ways. For example, I could never get in a fight or fight in a war unless I was backed into a corner and tortured or something. I don't know. I am very afraid of physical combat and altercations. But in some ways, I am very brave. See below. Let's see how much longer this is. Oh my goodness. It's going on forever. Oh, this is long. I hope you're ready. Now for the good stuff. This is stuff I feel good about. Loving people. Being a donkey on the website helped me fake it till I made it. I could stop and think about what I was going to say and take my time. At first, I would get angry about things. My sense of temper was just as testy as everybody else's, but I wanted to be that donkey. I felt like that donkey represented me, and I learned that when I get mad, I make an ass out of myself. Soon I learned to return ugliness and kindness with kindness and love. And as people positively reacted to that, I grew even more able to love them. Being nice to difficult people was rewarding as they responded in kind to me and I made friends. I'm in touch with myself. I know myself extremely well, and I'm very brave when it comes to expressing my feelings and thoughts and emotions. I emote. I realize I am a little dramatic and hyperbolic in my speech and possibly my physical actions, too. If you haven't met me, this probably sounds contradictory to what I've said, but it's not. I am kind. I honestly am interested in everyone's opinion, respect everyone, and have everyone's best interests at heart. I am very proud that I am like this. My naivete. I am tired of jaded. I have a kind of innocence about me. Mom told me that Kathleen means pure. In my heart, all I ever wanted was to be loved. I'm like a child. I have a very simple view of many subjects. I am willing to learn, but at the same time, I protect my soul. My mother always told me, Kathleen, protect your soul. I can hear her in my mind saying it, making her trademark hand gesture, which looks like a hand chopping someone slowly. I love this gesture. It makes her mom. As an aside, I remember someone going off on that expression that she used, protect your soul, because they didn't understand what I was saying. It's not to say that a soul needs protection, per se. It's that what she's saying is, don't junk it up with trash. That's part of it. My ability to get enthused. I am good at working myself into a good mood. I'd like to be good at putting others in a good mood when they so desire. My generosity. I think it would be gaggy here for me to explain with examples. I think we all know what it means to be generous. Next. I'm diligent. I'm earnest. I'm considerate. I'm honest. I feel rather bipolar in my zipping back and forth on the ego spectrum. Sometimes I am down on myself. Others I am pop-dunking with joy. I'm sorry, hold on a second. Let me get this fixed. Pop-dunking, I say. What is that, you say? Well, you know how they call it pop cat on the internet when a cat suddenly becomes startled and pops up in the air? Well, pop-dunking is to leap into the air like that, but from joy or surprise or something happy or positive. I might metaphorically pop-donk around the room if I get too excited. So is this normal? I think it is. I think it's realistic and that I see my good traits and the ones that I need help realistically. But really, would you want a donkey that has no humility? That would be ick. Best you let me totter along with my self-grumblings than turn into a 24/7 Tigger. Oh, I almost forgot about bravery. I think I am a simpering coward. I think I am the bravest donkey in the world. How do I reconcile this difference? It kind of depends on context. I know I'm not strong. I used to be really strong. I would carry stacks of rotors to my car and to mechanics to deliver. I lifted my own stuff generally. It was my job. If I had gotten into a fight back then, I still would have lost. I am afraid of physical pain. I don't want my glasses smashed into my eyes. I don't want my nose crushed or my teeth shattered. I fear these things. But here is something I wrote back in February 2010, probably while at least mildly delusional. Oh, this is long. This is going to take a long time. People keep saying the donkey is brave. It may sound like false modesty to say, I've always thought myself rather timid and cowardly. It's one thing to give an e-hoofing, quite another to admit that the closet door cannot be cracked and the shower curtain must stay open. Hair washing is mildly unpleasant because I cannot just open my eyes when I feel like it. I've been that way since childhood, until a few days ago. Mom called it being goosey. You know what I really hated? I hated that phenomena of laying in bed in the dark with the door cracked so light can come through, and it looks as if the door is slowly moving open. I had a dummy named Lester. It was all fun and games until Magic was published, and then it was not hilarious. Lester slept in the closet at night, and that closet door stayed very tightly shut. Thank the Lord I was not a little kid when I saw the movies It and Poltergeist. Mom knew better than to let me see horror movies as a child. You say, well, kids are like that, but I was like that as an adult. Once I saw a banana peel rotting on the gate walking home from middle school. I got the idea for the sinister story, The Buckled Goatee. I recently discovered I have a terror of misrepresentation. As a child, I had a horrid dream about Superman in the shower. I saw him in there, and he was bald. I was dumbstruck, and I woke screaming, probably. It was the idea that he was not what he appeared. This always terrified me. I wonder if it has something to do with the way my heart is different from the way I present. So back to my story. I wrote it about a man who used a buckled goatee to slip on and do his nefarious deeds. I forgot about the story's inspiration. Dun dun dun. As you can imagine, and may already be laughing, I then one day saw the now much more rotten and sinister looking, nay, banana peel, buckled goatee hanging on the fence, and almost screamed and fainted before remembering. Now that is a pretty silly kid. And then I was also like this. Dunderhead. This kid bullied me and the other kids. He was a beefy sort. It was jolly times for him to toss kids in the creek and generally be an ass, I heard later. One day I was walking down the bicycle path with some of the daycare kids of moms coming home from school, and guess who was there ahead? A group of kids had gathered, watching quietly as Dunderhead had one of our daycare boys, I'll call him Bear, by the collar and was holding him in the air. I strode up and slapped Dunderhead in the face. I was probably wearing a knit polyester dress with a lace collar. And I had never slapped anyone in my life, nor been punched. He immediately dropped his prey. Importantly, I said, "Run," to the other kids. The young ones did. The older ones stayed to observe. Immediately he punched me in the nose. I stood there and stared at him. It did not bleed, and thought, that's what it's like to be punched in the nose? That's not so bad, and walked calmly away. This caused problems later. This caused problems solved later, deliciously, but that's not for this day. Later that day, Bear's sister called me and thanked me. No greater glory could have been experienced. Singing. In middle school, again, oh, that is a crappy age. I was in choir, and the teacher was very nice. Some very popular girls were being real jerks and refusing to sing to blackmail/punish the teacher. I was a very strange, self-conscious, one-friend kind of kid. A weirdo in the other kids' opinions, I think. Except that I missed first place in the school spelling bee in 8th grade, the highest grade in that school, and when I misspelled the word, it sounded like everyone said, "Aw," and meant it. I stood thunderstruck. It was too late to realize I had been liked, my pedantic, weird little self, the whole time. They were just intimidated by me, maybe. But I digress, as usual. My number one fear, above and way beyond Lester walking out of that closet and staring at me with a grinning face, was singing in public. And I sucked. I couldn't carry a tune. After the third round of music, and those little biatches sitting there refusing to sing, and no one else daring to, because who wants to stand up to the popular girls in 7th grade? I think I meant 8th grade there. Guess what? I started singing loud and strong as I could. I figured there would be shouts and screams of derision and laughter. There was stone-cold silence. I felt the hot, prickly, sick fear in red face. I sang that song. The next rendition, those damn girls sang. In the hospital, the staff was insulting my friend, a schizophrenic. He was such a sweet and lovely boy. I loved him dearly, and he came to love me too. I knew. They were calling him roly-poly and saying blink, and sitting there on their asses smirking, looking at each other and him in the day room. The staff was sitting in the break room with us, and they were insulting one of the patients. I said, I feel like I'm in high school. The male tech turned and said, surprised, why? And that was when they got hoofed. The schizophrenic friend made his appropriate addition and regally and with great dignity left the room. They did not repeat the behavior. Imagine my first time in a locked psychiatric facility. I had a lot to lose by condemning these people, but it didn't matter. I was treated the same with respect and kindness. I was scared, but I did it anyway. Now are you seeing a pattern? I am afraid, loath to stand up for myself, but I'll stand in front of a bullet for you. I think that is exactly what caused the meltdown with my father, a man I usually bow down to. He accused me of accusing him of lying and then treated me with anger and disdain. I lost it. Speak your mind, even if your hands shake. Even if you get a hot, sick chill. Lately, the stress and shock of what I've been through, including my friend's husband dying, has left me numb. I don't have any fears right now. I feel fearless. My shower door stays pulled closed nowadays. If Mr. Bates shows up, he's going to get hoofed. Okay. That was from Kaffy the Love Dawnkey, formerly called The Angels Cheer When You Face Your Fear. I hope you enjoyed that. I would be very surprised if anybody is still here at this point, but if you are, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And would you please consider just taking a second and flicking the like button for me? And if you like the place, why don't you consider subscribing? Thank you so much for listening. See you next time. Bye-bye.